morning this morning, and welcome to a college football recruiting rankings are a lie edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor this morning and smash that like button if you don't mind. Please leave us a comment down in the comment section below. That'll help out as well. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We really do appreciate each and every single one of you who have done that. We all love you watching our videos. Some of you need to subscribe. You've watched us so many times. We've got the numbers. We see you watching us. You might as well subscribe. Help us out, man. By the way, don't forget to check out the College Huddle, guys, my other channel where we talk and interview other people from coast to coast about college football, other podcasters who are covering their teams, their favorite teams, in the communities and states that they live. We have a good time over at the College Huddle. We are building that brand up. We want to see 1,000 subscribers before college football kicks off in late August of this year. So we're going to need your help. We're going to need you to go on over to the College Huddle, subscribe to that channel, and help us get there. 2 interviews a week is what we've been doing. We have plans to increase that, make that channel even more active. We have a live show we're planning here very soon. Plus, we're going to be doing some other things with the College Huddle. So make sure you are in the know and you know exactly what's going on over at our second channel, thecollegehuddle.com. It's YouTube / College Huddle. That's where you'll find it. It's great. You're going to love it. And if you hang around to the end of this video, there'll be a link up there in the top right hand corner that you can click on, and that'll take you to the channel. So please consider subscribing to the College Huddle. All right, guys, let's dive into this topic, shall we? Now, this came up on Chris's call-in show on Monday. It came up on the Buckeye Lounge with TG and Sean on Tuesday. And I agree with everything they were saying, but I think it's important that we look at some of the insights, if you will, as to why and how recruiting bumps and recruiting falls take place with what we call the big three in recruiting. Rivals, On3 or Con3, as a lot of you call them, 247 Sports. ESPN is pretty much a joke at this point, but you know what I mean. Okay, so the recruiting services are ranking recruits and following recruiting for college football fans. It's an amazing source of information for those of us who follow recruiting for our favorite teams in the off season. And of course, recruiting is now a 365-day a year business. And so even during the season, you have to kind of follow recruiting. Although I don't enjoy following recruiting during the season because, quite frankly, the season is the substance. Everything we do in the off season is a build up towards the season. And if you are constantly worried about recruiting during the season, then it kind of steals your joy of what it's all about, which is the 12 games during the regular season. But I digress. This is the time of year I really dive into recruiting. It's the off season, spring football is gone. You're not going to get any news about the football team working out very much. And so it's all about recruiting and the future of these programs. And of course, some of this shine of recruiting has been affected due to the transfer portal. If you don't have a great recruiting class, you can make up for it via the transfer portal rather quickly. So that has stolen some of the shine that recruiting used to have. If you all remember, there was one signing day in February years ago, and that was like Christmas morning to college football fans. And that's no longer the case with an early signing period now in December, which is crazy awful, by the way, terrible calendar placement. And then you have the second signing period, which is basically if maybe a player or two who hadn't signed yet at that point. And then, of course, the transfer portal now is really stolen away from that. But I digress. This video is about what happens in recruiting rankings and how the game is played. How the game is played. So these recruiting services, like I said, the big three and the ESPN, their whole business, their whole marketing scheme, if you will, is making sure that they get clicks, they get eyeballs watching their stuff without people like me and you and everybody else tuning into what they're doing, reading their articles, etc. They don't have a business. And so it's important to them to make sure that they can continue to create interest to get more clicks, to get more eyeballs in what is taking place as these recruits cut down their lists from 20 to 10 to 5 to 3 and then eventually choose a hat on a table to make a commitment. And then what if that commitment isn't firm and then they reopen or they decommit and reopen their recruiting and then they commit again and so this entire back and forth seesaw game that is played between a recruit in a school and the media that's kind of reporting all of this and the fans who are interested in all of it and reading what the media is reporting, this seesaw game creates interest, which creates dollars for these companies. Now, what they can do to generate more interest, to generate more clicks, generate more eyeballs is where the dirty part of this game is being played. And as it was pointed out by Chris, TG, and Sean, they were calling it the Buckeye effect. a, a recruit commits to Ohio State, and then all of a sudden he gets dropped in his ranking. You all know I interact a lot with the Always Irish, John Kennedy show on Always Irish. A lot of their fans, they say the exact same thing about their recruits. When a kid commits to Notre Dame, he gets dropped in the rankings. Um, this is not new. This isn't just something that Ohio State fans complain about. A lot of sports fans from a lot of different schools complain about this. And what is happening, and I've watched this and I've been tracking this, and I have a perfect example for all of you. And I'm going to share my screen. And this is 247 Sports 2026 overall football team rankings. Uh, and I want you to notice something. Look at the rankings right now. USC, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, Clemson. You don't get to an SEC school right now until number 6 A&M, number 7 LSU, 8 Kansas, 9 Miami, 10 Syracuse. So, very interesting that the big two, if you will, inside the SEC aren't even mentioned yet in these rankings. Now, let me make an adjustment here, and I'm going to show you another screen that I find incredibly interesting, and I think something that a lot of you will find interesting as well. And that is that this I won't call it a bump. It's a bump for other players. It's more of a downgrade when a recruit makes a commitment. I want to show that to you because I think it's incredibly insightful and something a lot of you will find very, very interesting. So let me share this page with you now. These are the 2026 top football recruits. So the top recruits in the 2026 class, according to 247 Sports and their rankings and their composite rankings, right? So I want you to look at like these numbers right here. They have him ranked number 1. He's ranked number 5 overall in the composite, okay? So as I scroll down, I want you to notice player number 10, Jackson Cantwell, all right? A lot of Ohio State fans, you all know who he is. He was the number 1 offensive tackle in the country, right? And I want you to notice his current ranking now, 10. Now, 247 Sports is reporting they still have him at number 1 overall, but he's 10th in the nation according to the composite, and his position rank is third overall, and first in the state of Missouri, 10th in the nation. If I click on his ranking, actually I take that back. I had him backwards. When I click on his ranking, 247 Sports has him as number 10 now. Has him as number 10. What has happened here is now that he's committed to Miami, he made his announcement, he commits to Miami. He all of a sudden drops. It wasn't a, hey, let's give this a couple weeks and then we'll drop him. It was an immediate, he commits to Miami, and it's like 48 hours later, he plummets to 10th on their list. He was the number one overall recruit in the country, according to their service, 247 Sports. And now he's 10th, only 48 hours after he commits to Miami. And of course, Miami fans are all saying the same thing that Ohio State fans would say, the same thing Notre Dame fans are saying. Oh my gosh, he commits to Miami and boom, he plummets. Now, the other school that was in on his recruitment was Georgia. What conference is Georgia in? That's right, they're in the SEC. You need to follow the money, folks. Follow the money trail. Follow where and who 247 Sports is getting the majority of their viewership from, majority of their money, and you'll see where their allegiances lie. It is important. It is important to them in their business model to make sure that they continue to generate clicks. He committed to Miami, not to Georgia. We need to make sure we bump some more people into that top 10 who haven't committed yet because listen to me, when we have an announcement of a top 10 recruit, a 5-star recruit, top 10 recruit, who's going to make his announcement on 247 Sports, or we're going to do a special about him, more people are going to click on that video, more people are going to read that article, and it behooves us as a company to make sure that we give that recruit who isn't committed yet all the attention we absolutely can. Now, they can't make it so obvious that it becomes an absolute joke to everybody, but that's what's happening now. It's gotten to the point where literally it is so hard to take anything they say seriously on a national level. And each one of the 247 Sports has their own branch within each team. So, for instance, Ohio State has got Bucknuts 247, right? That's the Ohio State arm of 247 Sports. And of course they're going to have an Ohio State bias to it, and rightfully so. That's how the game is played. And I like those guys over at Bucknuts a lot. I really do. But it's really hard for me to associate myself or really indulge myself in their content when I know that they're coming from a recruiting source that is just unapologetically rigging the system. Now, that's just one little thing that happens uh, when it comes to why a player is being dropped or gets a bump all of a sudden, is when you follow the dollars and cents. Hey, what's coming down the pike for this person? Oh, this guy's no longer in his recruitment's no longer out there in the forefront. He's made a commitment. Let's drop him a little bit here because we can't we can't squeeze the juice out of that anymore, right? That's what's happening with that, which is incredibly interesting. Now, Chris and I have alluded to this a few times, and there's a way to pay for rankings. If you want a scout who is associated to one of these recruiting services to say really good things about a recruit, you can slip that person some dinero under the table and they will bump him. It's dirty, it's untruthful, but it's the way the game is played. And they don't talk about it, right, and rightfully so, because it's dirty, but it does happen. And, it's one of those things where if there's a certain recruit and you want to see that recruit get bumped, and the person for that recruiting service who's going to be watching his film, reporting on his film, and really ranking him within the overall rankings for that service, and you want him to rank him higher, here's a few extra here's a few extra bucks, my man. Do me a good service. That's the other portion of this game that is played. So I say all of that to say two things. Number one, it's a dirty game. It's a game that, quite frankly, I don't enjoy anymore. It's a game that is it's you have to take it with a grain of salt. Listen, these rankings, okay, great. He's a really good recruit. He's a 4 or 5 star. What is he? Right? Is he truly a 5 star or not? Is he truly a top 100 kid or not? And I think for the most part, the borderline stuff maybe okay. It's whatever you feel, whatever you like. But for the most part, it's legit for the most part. But that's the little game within the game that's being played that when you watch it, you can see it happening, okay? But I don't again, like I've always said, I don't want to be lied to. I hate being lied to. And I want the truth. And so we decided here at the OHIO podcast that we were going to create a different kind of ranking system that has never been created before. Um, Chris and I put our heads together and we decided that we were going to change the recruiting game completely. And here's how we were going to do that. We were only going to rank the kids who commit to Ohio State. If you commit to another school, why would I care about you? I'm not a fan of Penn State. I'm not a fan of Tennessee. I'm not a fan of the Florida Gators. Okay, so why would I spend the time ranking this kid? And so I've only got so much time on my hands. I don't have enough time to sit here and watch film and talk to 300 different recruits across the nation and try to come up with some kind of ranking for these 300 kids that in my head I need to somehow try to argue for. I only care about the ones who want to be Buckeyes. So Chris and I decided we're only going to rank commits to Ohio State. And then here's how we're going to do that to make it unique and different. We're not just going to say, okay, well, let's take the 247 composite ranking and we'll make that the overall ranking for us. Because again, there are things happening within those ranking services that are just dirty and I don't trust them. So, we're going to trust our own eyeballs. We're going to watch the highlight films ourselves. We're going to watch the interviews ourselves. We're going to dive into this kid's background, where he plays, who has been his competition, what has his stats been in high school against that competition, what are his measurables, what does he sound like when he's interviewed, um, does he understand what it means to be a Buckeye, uh, what is his views on the rivalry, um, we're going to take all those things and we're going to throw them into an algorithm that takes into account 5 different categories. And those categories are going to add up to a score. And then that score is what's going to give us our ranking. And Chris and I, we talk about this. And so for those of you who have a membership to this channel, it only costs $3.99 a month. You have watched us review all 13 recruits from Ohio State who are committed. We've watched their highlight films together, and then we rank them after that highlight film, and we go through that criteria. And then we have an entire list of recruits. And so I'm going to reveal for free right now to all of you where our commitment rankings are in the 2026 class for Ohio State. I'm not going to tell you how we come about that. For that, to learn more, you're going to have to become a member. It only costs $3.99 a month. But I want to show you what our rankings are, okay? So here's how we come up with that. We have the consensus, we have the algorithm, we put all those scores in the algorithm, it spits out a number. We call anybody who's 90 or higher, we call him a 5 Buckeye Leaf recruit, okay? Now, what a 5 Buckeye Leaf recruit means is we think that recruit at some point during his career, based off the criteria of the algorithm, is going to be a starter at Ohio State. He's going to start, he's going to have a career, he's going to be an impact player at Ohio State. We call a player who's received 80, an 80 score. He's a developmental, or he's a recruit who has a chance. He's got a really good chance to be a starter. He's not a guaranteed, but he's got a really good shot. A recruit who is 79 or below, we call them 3 or 2-star Buckeye Leaf recruits. They are developmental talent. These are guys who they're going to have to stick it out. They're going to have to develop. It's going to take them time, but maybe down the road they possibly could be a starter at Ohio State. But these are also the guys who are in the risk of hitting the transfer portal possibly early. Okay, so giving that criteria, these 13 recruits that we have in the class right now, 7 of them, or more than half right now, we consider legitimate going to start at Ohio State recruits. Okay. Chris Henry Jr., overall 100.11. That is like literally a perfect score. Maxwell Riley, the offensive lineman here from Ohio, a 97. Simeon Caldwell, the safety slash linebacker, 94. Another 94 for Caden Dixon Wyatt. The safety Blaine Bradford with a 92. The second offensive lineman from this class, Sam Greer, got a 91. And then cornerback Jordan Thomas, who just committed last week, got a 90. All right, so and that's borderline, right? The 90 score. But you can see there that our rankings are different. If you go and you look up the scores and the rankings from the 247 composite, they're different. They're not the same. We take the composite into account. It's one little portion of the algorithm, but it is a small, minute portion of the algorithm. And these are the scores that we have come up with in this class. And so we feel that what we're doing is fair, is more intelligent, and is a way to look at recruiting beyond just the overall score that a recruiting service is giving a team and a player, right? And at the end of the day, we know that the SEC teams are going to get players who are going to get bumps, who are going to make their class look better than what it might actually be. And it's unfair, it's kind of dirty, it's kind of sick, and we wanted to create something that was as pure and honest as humanly possible that we think most of you are going to enjoy, and hence our commitment rankings. So that's what we have for our commitment rankings. I hope you like that. And if you find value in that, please consider becoming a member of the channel. Again, only $3.99 a month. This is just one of the little perks we give you. You get a free t-shirt that says an official member after you've been a member for a month. You'll be getting a free online version copy of our preview magazine, which Chris and I have already started working on. And so that comes in late summer before the season kicks off. You're going to want that as well. You'll get that for free just for being a member. And plus $3.99 a month, that's less than a coffee at Starbucks these days. Your way of telling us thank you for all the content you guys are producing and for us, and we appreciate that. All of this reminds us of one of our favorite Bible verses, Titus chapter 3, verse 5. Not by works of righteousness, which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Ghost. I hope you all enjoy your weekend. Make sure that you like this video. Leave me a comments down in the comment section below. What do you think about the recruiting rankings? What do you think about our commitment rankings? What do you think about those? Do you like that? Let us know what you think. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow evening, tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on the OHIO podcast for another Sunday evening roundtable discussion with former Buckeye Alan DeGraffenreid. He's going to be with us. We're going to have a great time. Don't miss it. See you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Be kind of one another. I owe someone's OH in Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, go Bucks.